See, one of the most important revelations you could ever have is that your life and your happiness begins and ends inside your own mind. Let's say that again. One of the most important revelations you can ever have is that your life and your happiness begins and ends inside your own mind. What you say to yourself, how you treat yourself, and the thoughts that run on repeat are everything. It does not matter how successful, thin, famous, muscular, or wealthy you become. If you focus on what's wrong with you, you will never be happy and you will never change, period. If you think there's something wrong with you, and no, this is not don't worry, be happy. We're talking brain science here, everybody. We're talking about taking all of that subconscious programming where you beat yourself up and reprogramming your mind to be more positive, more optimistic, more celebratory, more encouraging. That's what the high five habit is about. This is not toxic positivity. This is how you use science to literally take that crap you've been saying to yourself for years that makes you feel broken and recognize, wait a minute, I'm not broken. I have these patterns of thinking that are so broken for where I want to go. So I need to punch them with a high five right out of my brain. And I need to start to program with a high five, encouraging, supportive, loving, validating, and worthy thoughts. That's what we're doing here. We are taking neural association in your brain with a high five and marrying it with your identity. How freaking cool is that? Because if you think there's something wrong with you, the idea of high-fiving yourself, by the way, probably feels a little dumb or stupid or cheesy. And let me tell you why. If you think there's something wrong with you, you probably also think you don't deserve a high five because you haven't done anything worthy of a high five. You also think, well, I don't get a high five until I fixed the thing that's wrong with me. When I lose the weight, I'll high five myself. When I get the job, I'll high five myself. When the divorce is final, I'll high five myself. When I finally meet somebody and fall in love, I'll high five myself. When I get out of debt, I'll high five myself. By withholding all of this, by the way, from yourself right now, this is why you don't feel motivated. I think that what you're going to see in the next year is I think you're going to see 50,000 books come out that are all talking about what I'm talking about. Gary Vaynerchuk's new book is all about kindness, by the way, and all about supporting yourself. Will Smith's new book that's coming out, the whole thing is about your emotions and supporting yourself and being kind to yourself. The high five habit doesn't talk about it. It teaches you how to do it. This is going to be the big theme of 2022. I'm telling you right now. And the high five habit is a game changer because it gives you the tool. We're not talking concepts here. We're giving you the tool to recognize that your own self-hatred, self-rejection, self-bashing is the foundational problem that you have. And the second that you break the habit of beating yourself up and you use the high five habit and the science in this book and the tools in this book to make it a habit to lift yourself up, to encourage yourself, to support yourself, to empower yourself, to see the human being in the mirror and say, I see you. I know we're not where we want to be, but we're going to keep on going. I see you. We're going to face the day. I see you. I got your back. That's what this is about, everybody. It's the how. We all know we need to be kinder. We all know we need to stop criticizing ourselves. The problem is, how the hell do you do it when it's so insidious and casual and subconscious to just Well, I'll tell you how you do it. You make a commitment to yourself that you're going to stop doing it. And you're going to retrain your own mind and your own habits. And you're going to start by simply standing in front of the mirror and demonstrating with a high five every morning to the human being in the mirror that you do deserve respect. You are worth working on. You are worth loving. You are worth validating. That the fact that you're still here means that you're worthy of all these things. You're still trying. That is what makes you worthy. You don't have to go to the gym today to earn a high five. If you can drag yourself to the bathroom, you get one. Yes, I see somebody saying, I live with a narcissist. Delve into the topic. I'll tell you, If you actually live with a diagnosed narcissist, there is no cure for narcissism. And the world's leading expert on narcissism, Dr. Ramani, will tell you, as the world's leading expert, that because narcissists are made during childhood by either neglect or overindulgence, and it is a wiring issue in the brain that has somebody be incapable of feeling empathy, the high five habit for you is foundational and essential, because that person who has a narcissistic personality disorder will never be able to validate you, will never be able to make you feel worthy, will never be able to give you the support emotionally that you need, because neurologically, developmentally, they are not able physiologically, neurologically to do it. And it's not your job to heal them. And by the way, you can't. And so hopefully high-fiving yourself in the mirror and building up your own self-worth is going to be the thing that makes you realize you are worthy of different treatment. You deserve to be in a healthy relationship. If you're already typing that you are in a relationship with a narcissist, then you know it's not working. What you now need to do is rebuild up the self-worth and the self-love and the self-esteem that the narcissist is probably taking away from you, so that you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I actually am not going to stay in this relationship. If they, we all have narcissistic tendencies. That's not what you're talking about. If you're talking about somebody who is truly diagnosed with narcissism, the high five habit will help you rebuild up your self-worth and your self-respect and your self-validation, so that you literally will be able to find the strength to leave the narcissist. Because part of the damage of being with somebody who's narcissistic is their personality disorder makes you start to believe there's something wrong with you. The constant gaslighting, the lack of empathy. I didn't say that. The constant focus on them makes you think you're going nuts. That's why you need the high five habit. You got a narcissist in your life, you better get this freaking book, everybody, the high five habit. You better get off this live stream and click buy, because you better know how to start building up your own self-worth so that you can leave, okay? And it was Dr. Ramani. She's on Red Table Talk all the time. She has a huge social media following. I met her because we had her on my daytime talk show a lot. Let's see. If this is also, by the way, when your self-worth is low, when you have negative self-talk, it's also why you feel uncomfortable when people compliment you, because you don't believe it. That's why you can't accept it. That's why you're uncomfortable at your own birthday party, because you're not comfortable being the center of attention, because you don't believe you're worthy of it. This is why we have got to get to the heart of rebuilding your self-esteem. This is so foundational. I think we're going to end right here. We just completed page 48. I have time for literally one more question. Let's take a quick question. You got anything good that you want me to do? Yep. Thank you. Let me see if I can find a different one. I listened to you on Saturday. We're looking to see. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow, Terry is saying, I want to pay for someone's book who can't afford one. Is there a fund for that? No, there's not. But how about you just buy a book for a friend who's in need, seriously, or send it to a family member that could really use some help with their self-esteem or self-worth, or heck, I just sent the book to a really good, a very close friend of mine's daughter is having a really tough time freshman year in college. And so I just surprised her by sending her a copy of The High Five Habit, because when life is hard, you need to know how to lift yourself up. When life is great, you need to know how to celebrate that stuff and keep yourself going. Let's see. I've tried a lot. Okay, let's see. Have faith in I have tried a lot and I still am not able to have faith in my goal. Is that normal? Yeah, it's normal to not feel confident. And I'll tell you why. Life has beaten you up. And the only thing that is going to change your level of confidence in yourself, there's just two things that do it. One is seeing yourself taking action. Because when your brain sees you taking action on the things that matter to you, your brain starts to develop more respect for you because it sees you starting to prioritize yourself. That will make you feel more assured and confident, your own actions of working on the goal. But the bigger thing that's going to help you feel more confident as you work toward your goals and your huge dreams, everybody, is send yourself into the day by looking in the mirror at yourself and giving yourself a high five. Just like a teammate would send you into the biggest game of your life or back into the play, you would high five yourself and send yourself into the day. And it builds momentum. It gives you dopamine. It gives your nervous system a little celebratory jolt. These things are so important and you need it because when your brain starts to see you demonstrating with the high five that you do see yourself, you do believe in yourself, you do celebrate yourself, neurologically, chemically, physiologically, you start to change. That's why this is so powerful, everybody. So powerful. This is a simple trick backed by science that I'm going to teach you today as I read and freestyle from the High Five Habit about how you can interrupt negative thoughts and flip into a positive mindset. And why would you want to do that? Well, the reason why you want to do that is because your thoughts lead you in a particular direction. And if you start to allow your mind to dwell on negative outcomes, if you start to obsess that things are not going to work out, if you allow yourself to continue to think negative thoughts, you're not only priming your mind to default to negative, but you will literally, through your thoughts, trigger negative actions. You know, if you think about it, you've had experiences in your life, right, where you've really trashed yourself. You've hated on yourself. And when you continually think that you hate yourself or you continually tell yourself that you're screwing up, you tend to do things that you hate, don't you? But when you're in a positive mindset, when you're in an optimistic mindset, when you interrupt those negative thoughts, and you start to say, well, maybe it is going to work out, or, you know, I got to just keep on going. Your thoughts literally can trigger positive action too. And so that's what we're going to talk about today as we read the High Five Habit. Welcome to the live stream. Also, we are going to take your questions. So for those of you that want to read along, page 59, we're going to read 4 pages of the book today, finish chapter 4, and I'm also going to teach you the one trick all confident people use to stay positive. Here we go. So to understand the profound power of accepting and encouraging yourself, which is a way to have a positive mindset, to have a mindset that defaults on being encouraging. Let's look at some research on what psychologists call your core fundamental emotional needs. So let me ask everybody, do you know what your core emotional needs are? There are 3 of them. I want you to go in the comments. What do you think your 3 core emotional needs are as a human being? These are the core emotional needs that every human being needs in order to feel safe, in order to feel connected to themselves, in order to feel loved. What are those core needs, everybody? I'd like you to just write them in the comments, okay? Yep, one's safety, one's love. These are great. What else? What are your needs? Your core emotional needs. I see longing. I see love. These are excellent, excellent responses, everybody. Human connection, love, acceptance. Yep. Trust, honesty. What are your core? There they are. I see Felicia's nailed it. To be seen, to be heard, and to be, she says validated, but it can be validated, accepted, or celebrated for the unique individual that you are. So to be seen, to be heard, and to be celebrated and accepted for the unique individual that you are and the unique contribution that you have. When you feel seen, when you feel heard, and when you feel celebrated or accepted for the contribution that you make as an individual, unique individual, you feel safe, you feel like you belong, and at your core, you feel loved. When you don't feel seen, you feel invisible in life. When you don't feel heard, you're going to feel misunderstood. And when you don't feel like you are accepted or validated, you feel completely rejected and disconnected. You feel like you are unworthy or unloved. And so again, we're going to talk about your need to be seen, to be heard, and to be accepted and celebrated. You need this at work. You need this at home. You need this in your relationships, your friendships, your romantic relationships, your family. And, if you just reflect in your life, where do you feel seen, heard, and celebrated? Where in your life do you feel that way? Or is there a person in your life that makes you feel that way? Hopefully, you are saying that you make yourself feel seen, heard, and celebrated. But is there somebody else in your life that makes you feel that way? It could be a caregiver. It could be somebody that you're in a romantic relationship with. It could be a mentor. It could be a friend. It could be your pet, right? I think one of the reasons why we all love our cats and our dogs so much is because there's such unconditional love. You walk in the door, they come running right at you. And so you feel seen and you feel celebrated, right? And when they're right there with you, or, have you ever noticed how when you get really upset and you start crying, what do your animals do? Oh my God, they hear you and they come right on over. And those responses that are so innate when it comes to your pets, everybody, they're fulfilling your emotional needs. That's why you feel so safe and connected and loved by your pets, because you feel seen by them, you feel heard by them, and you feel celebrated and loved by them. And I do see people saying, I feel that way about my daughter, my mom, a mentor of mine. These core values, when they're missing from your life of being seen, heard, celebrated, and accepted, this is what leads you to feeling stuck and disconnected and unfulfilled. And the good news is, when you realize that these core fundamental needs truly dictate how you feel and experience your life, now you've got the access point to be able to change how you're experiencing your life by focusing on your core fundamental needs and making sure that they are met. All right. You need these 3 fundamental emotional needs in order to thrive. They talk about this in Psychology 101. It's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And here's the background. You have basic needs that are fundamental to your fulfillment, your happiness, and your survival. You need water, food, oxygen, shelter, and sleep, right? Because if you don't have water or food or oxygen or shelter, or you get enough sleep, guess what? You die. That's how fundamental these core needs are. You also know that you need friendship, or else you're going to feel lonely. And research shows that people die from loneliness too. It's a huge killer. You may also know that you have a fundamental need to grow, because if you're not growing and learning as a person, you start to feel stuck in your life. But what you may not know is that you do have these core fundamental emotional needs to be seen, to be heard, to be loved for the unique individual that you are. And when these emotional needs are not met, it's not only a form of neglect, but you will feel unloved, invisible, and unfulfilled. And see, I believe that's how we all got so critical of ourselves in the first place. And it's why we're twisting ourselves in knots ever since. That at some point in your childhood, those core fundamental needs stop being fulfilled. You started feeling invisible. You started feeling disconnected. You started feeling like you didn't belong. And as we talked about in yesterday's video, this is all covered in chapter 4 of the High Five Habit, that you then turned that feeling against yourself, and you started to go, well, there must be something wrong with me. There must be something wrong with me. No, there's nothing wrong with you. It was that your 3 fundamental emotional needs were not being fulfilled by the adults around you. That's all that was wrong. So you can change this, by the way, for yourself. Because what's missing, if you're not fulfilled in life, is a deeper connection to yourself. Because you've probably been so busy running from one thing to the next that you can't even grasp right now how big of a shift it's going to create when you start each morning by simply seeing, hearing, and honoring yourself. And one of the reasons why I love all the research around adding a simple high five in the mirror to your morning routine is that it fulfills your deepest emotional needs as a human being. This one action of just high-fiving yourself in the mirror, add it to your morning routine. How many of you have added a high five to your morning routine and you're stunned by how much it's changing the way that you see yourself, the way that you treat yourself? Because as you've learned, these 3 emotional needs were probably never met during your childhood, and you haven't been given the tools until right now to be thinking about this and to start fulfilling these emotional needs as an adult. And, you know, the reason why you feel invisible at work, or you feel outside of your friend group, or you feel disconnected in your relationships as an adult, not to mention the relationship you have with yourself, is because there's something missing. And what's missing is a deeper sense that you actually matter. What's missing is the sense that you are being seen and heard and appreciated. This is critical. It's so critical. If you were to wake up and you had a feeling of being connected to yourself, and you felt seen in your life, and you felt appreciated in your life, and you felt heard in your life, that would absolutely change how you go through life. That's why this is such powerful stuff, as simple as it is. And I love seeing so many of you writing in the comments about how you are adding in the high five and how it's changing your life and how you're starting to take your emotional needs seriously and you're starting to make it a priority to fulfill them and how it's changing everything. Now look, don't bother arguing with me because I did the math. I think sometimes in life you forget just how miraculous you are. You know, you get so beaten down by the day to day, and you're so sort of beaten up by what you've survived in your past that you've lost sight of how extraordinary you are. And so I'm going to remind you of how extraordinary you are. And I brought some math to prove it. So I just want you to wrap your brain around this really cool fact. The odds of you being born are 1 in a million. We're just going to start there, okay? We're going to do some simple math and we're going to build. The odds of you being born are for sure 1 in a million because your mom carries over 1 million eggs in her body during her lifetime. Isn't that wild? You're 1 in a million. But guess what? That's not even close to the mathematical phenomenon that you are. 1 in a million doesn't even touch the surface of how extraordinarily unique and amazing you are. Because based on recent research, scientists have also figured out that the egg that formed you was really choosy. And that egg could determine which of your father's 250 million sperm cells it wanted to connect with. That's right. This was not a race with the sperm. The egg was very, very choosy. And if that egg that created you chose any other sperm, guess what? You wouldn't be watching this live stream. Your sibling would, because you never would have been born. So just wrap your mind around those odds. 1 in a million plus 1 in 250 million? What are the odds of that? Well, the experts crunched the numbers on that, and the odds of you being the result and being born and being here with me right now, 1 in 400 trillion. 1 in 400 trillion. Now, guess what? I'm not even done yet. 1 in 400 trillion doesn't even scratch the surface in terms of what a miracle you are. Are you ready? A scientist from Harvard heard me cite that number, 1 in 400 trillion, in my TEDx talk. And he wrote a research paper to say, Mel Robbins, you are wrong. You are such a miracle. The odds of you being born is such a miracle. And the number is so insane. I don't even know how to say the number. Literally, no idea how to say the number. It's like 1 times 10,000 with that little sort of factor at the top with another million. Like, it's bananas. I can't even explain to you what a miracle that you are. And all of this math, it proves something really important. And that is that someone as unique and special as you deserves to be seen and heard. Feeling like you matter, that somebody cares about you, that you are worth celebrating, it is one of your most important and fundamental needs. And I'm here to tell you that because the math proves that you are a walking miracle, there will never be another you. There never has been another you. There will never be another you that will ever walk this earth. You are the one and only, which means you have something extraordinarily unique to give to the world. And feeling celebrated and feeling seen and feeling heard, it is so tied into your existence because of how unique you are. That's why you long to be recognized as an individual. That's why you long to be celebrated as an individual. This need, it's so important and foundational to you and the fact that your birth and existence is a miracle, that it's as important to your well-being to be seen and heard and appreciated as food and water. The difference between a good day and a bad day, you know what it comes down to typically, is just being acknowledged by somebody. And you know who's the best person to acknowledge and validate you? You are. And that brings me back to that moment every single morning when you come face to face with yourself in the mirror. High-fiving yourself is so much more than a physical act. It's foundational. It's a transfer of energy. It symbolizes an alliance and a belief in yourself and your ability. You aren't congratulating yourself. You're celebrating yourself as you are. And you just heard the math. Your existence is what makes you worthy of a high five. Your presence, your hopes, your dreams, your capacity to love, your ability to heal, to change, to grow, your heart, your soul. That's what makes you worthy of being seen and heard and appreciated. Not once in a while, but every single day. That's what you deserve. That's what you need. And the miracle of your existence is why you need it. See, when you are able to see yourself, when you are able to celebrate yourself, when you are able to treat yourself in a way that you have been wishing your parents would have, or wishing your friends or your spouse or your boss would, when you take control, this is what you communicate. It's incredible. You're basically, when you're able to hear yourself and see yourself and support yourself, and I believe that simply adding a high five in the mirror to yourself as part of your morning routine, every single day, you start the day by fulfilling those foundational needs that the miracle of your birth demands of you. Number one, you're communicating confidence. You're saying, I believe in you when you do that. Number two, you're celebrating yourself. You're basically like, you're amazing. You got this. You're validating yourself. You're saying, I see you. I'm not going to ignore you or pick you apart. You communicate optimism. I can do this. I can face this day. And I love adding a high five to your morning routine because it is an action. You're demonstrating belief in self. You're demonstrating acceptance of self. And you are sending yourself into the day to take action. Wouldn't it be incredible to feel all those feelings at once? I know it would. It would be mind-blowing. Literally, it could possibly blow up your subconscious because your brain, based on your life experience, is programmed the opposite. It's not been programmed to absorb all this yummy, gooey, amazing validation. But guess what? Your brain loves it. absolutely loves it. See, I believe you were wired for love. I believe that you came into this world whole and complete and loving and seeing and accepting yourself and being deeply connected to yourself. And that's why you miss feeling that way. And it's also why this change of adding a high five to your morning routine is almost instantaneous. This is why the programming that we're activating in your mind, body, and spirit, when you start to acknowledge and accept yourself and treat yourself with kindness, and when you start to flip the way that you think, and you start to cheer for yourself and believe in yourself, this is your default. You are going back to who you are when you practice the tools that I'm teaching you. It is your true nature to love yourself. It is your true nature to believe in yourself. It is your true nature to feel deeply connected to yourself and a sense of purpose. That's why you miss it. You can only miss what you know. And so I want you to come back home to who you are. That's what I want you to do. Now, okay, I get it. But Mel, how do I think different thoughts? And this is what I promised to teach you. The trick that all confident people use to stay positive. The trick that you can use to think different thoughts. Well, the first step to thinking different thoughts is you have to catch the old thought that takes you low, okay? And if you don't know what the thought is that takes you low, here's a hint. It's some version of I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not lucky enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. There's something wrong with me. It's some version of that. And if you know what the thought is that always brings you down, could you please write it in the comments? Because you will inspire somebody else. You will make somebody else realize they're not alone, okay? What is the thought that always takes you down? Mine is some version of, it never works out for me. People are mad at me. I'm not a good person. Nothing I ever do is gonna matter. Like, it's just some horrible version of that, okay? So, first step number one, what is the thought that always takes you down? I'm not enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not loved enough. I'll never be this. Like, I see this. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not now, never will be. I'm never going to grow up. I'm never going to get it right. I always screw things up. I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. Other people do it better than me. I'm too big. Anyway, keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep writing this down because you're giving other people permission to take a look. I'll never make enough money. I'll never be a good father. I'll never be a good wife. Nobody loves me. Nobody has ever loved me. All of this horse shit that you tell yourself. This has become the default wiring. Step number one is identify what thought takes you down, okay? It's like dropping a guillotine on your power and on your future and on your possibility. It cuts you off from who you truly are and what you truly want and desire and deserve in your life. And whenever you think this thought, I'll never be loved, I'll never meet somebody's standards, I'll never make the money, you literally also stop yourself from taking the actions that change your life. So great job. You've already done step one. Identify the thought that takes you down. Because here's the cool thing. That's not how you came into this world. You didn't come into this world thinking, I'm not enough. I'm not lovable. I never do anything right. I'll never amount to anything. I never should have been born. You didn't come into the world thinking that. Somebody taught you to think that. And so if you can figure out what that negative thought is, right? Pick your poison. I'm not smart enough, good enough, tall enough, skinny enough, rich, whatever it is. I call it poison. You want to know why? I call it poison because thinking this negative thought is like drinking poison. It kills your spirit and your innate desire to be seen, to be heard, and to be celebrated. You are dropping the guillotine right on yourself when you think this poisonous thought, okay? Now, what is step two? Step 2 is, yes, you have to identify it, but it's not enough to just identify it. Step 2 is we need to replace it. Okay? We need to replace it. And so I'm going to teach you what you're going to do next. The next time you think that negative, I'm not enough thought, you're going to break the thought by saying, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not thinking about that. And then number 3, we have got to replace the thought. So you're going to catch the thought, you're going to break the thought, and then we're going to replace the thought. That's what you need to do to get this poison out of your mind and start thinking thoughts that align with your fundamental needs. And what are your fundamental needs? It's what we've been talking about today. It's to be seen, it's to be heard, it's to be celebrated. And one of the things that I love about cultivating a high 5 attitude is the high 5 attitude is an attitude that aligns with believing in yourself, seeing yourself, and appreciating, celebrating, and encouraging yourself to continue to move forward. That's what you're doing. And so one of the things that you can do, I know this is going to sound crazy, is by adding a high 5 to your morning routine. It helps you rewire your mind in a very powerful way. And the reason why it will help you rewire your mind in a very powerful way is if your default right now is I'm not enough, when you add this to your morning routine, your brain sees you treating yourself in the exact opposite way of that negative poisonous thought. Because you don't high 5 somebody that you think isn't enough or that sucks or that you hate. You only high 5 people that you believe in, that you think are enough, and that you're rooting for. And so add a high 5 to your morning routine, because that is part of the positive forward programming of plowing new neural pathways in your mind. Again, let me repeat, the trick all confident people use to stay positive. You got to catch that negative poisonous thought. You got to break it. I'm not thinking about that. Talk back to it. And then you must replace it. You have to learn how to replace it and program a positive mind, because your brain's circuitry is designed to just repeat the patterns that are there. So simply identifying and trying to break the pattern won't work. We got to replace it and program new neural pathways in. This is why all of you who are high-fiving yourself, whether you're taking the High 5 Challenge, go to highfivechallenge.com. It's a free 5-day program that I lead you through. You can do it with 150,000 other people from 90 different countries, or whether you've read the book or watched our videos or listened to these live streams. For those of you that are adding the high 5 to your morning routine, what are you noticing about the way it's changing your mind? What are you noticing about how those negative poisonous thoughts are starting to be replaced by more positive programming? That's what this book is about, everybody. Write it in the comments. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to some questions. That is the end of chapter 4. Oh, wait, I've got one more paragraph and then I'll do it to questions. The reason why you want to catch the thought, break the thought, replace the thought is because we want to teach you how to let validation, confidence, celebration, optimism, and action, a high 5 attitude. We want to teach you how to make that the new default. That whenever you feel yourself going mentally low because of poisonous thoughts, that the thought alone, those poisonous thoughts, they paralyze your ability to move forward. So whenever you think that thought, I want you to learn how to catch it. Because whenever you have that poisonous thought, you don't want to high 5 anybody, right? You don't want to high 5 yourself. You don't want to do anything. You don't feel like doing anything. It kills your inspiration and motivation. So we want to catch it. We want to break that thought, and we want to replace it.
I have followed the personal development world for a really long time, and you have just inspired me to continue on my path of entrepreneurship that has taken away my doubt, the fear, the anxiety, the negative self-talk, all of those things. So I follow a lot of the personal development people, and yours has stuck the most with me. like has actually resonated and actually has worked.
Why do you think that is?
Because that's a great question.
Hold my hands because I can see your shape.
I am. I think you're just real about it. Like there's no sugarcoating it. You connect with it. It's not where you're telling us to not say do things, but the other personal development people like tell you to dream big and you think these things, but like it's the taking that blockage away. Like, okay, I want to dream to go like have a house in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still blocking that in my way. So I have to think about reframing my mind and all those things and how to do it.
Yeah.
And you have taught me how to do it. So I have 6 mantras that I say every morning that you have taught me.
What are they?
Well,
I need them.
Well, they're yours.
What are my 6 mantras that move the most for you?
So every single day, the first I say is, the world needs my story.
Yes.
I say my next chapter is just beginning.
Yes.
I say I'm growing every day.
Yes.
I say every day I'm getting stronger.
Yes.
I say what's meant for me is trying to find me.
Yes.
Which is my absolute favorite one because I had a hard time comparing myself to other people in my industry and been like, oh gosh, the right people aren't going to come.
What is your industry?
So I'm a professional home organizer.
Fabulous.
And so I'm like, oh, everyone else is, I'm not getting the clients I want or this and that. But that one was huge.
You traveled here for this event.
Yes.
I've heard about you. Yes. I heard that you traveled here out of state to come.
I came from Charlotte.
Yes, from Charlotte to Fargo.
Yes. Well, I'm originally from Fargo.
Okay.
So, like, this is my
But
home.
still, you traveled, so I'm going to give you credit for that. You get a high five for traveling that far.
Yes, the high five. So that, and then I'm committed to my financial freedom. And then another one that I did from meditation is abundance flows to me and abundance flows through me.
Yes.
So those are what you have taught me, and they've helped me, and I say them every day, and it has helped my mindset more than I can tenfold ever thank you for.
And you're welcome. Thank you for trying it. Because I often think that the reason why the things that I'm talking about work is because they're so damn simple.
They are.
And sometimes they sound so stupid, especially when the problems are big or the goals are big.
Yes.
But when it's simple, you can remember it. Mm-hmm. And in a moment of doubt or fear, you can apply it.
100%.
And when you use one of those 6 reframes, it removes the thinking that's keeping you from taking the actions.
100%.
Because the simple secret is this. If you know what you want, what you have to do is bring yourself back to the present moment and just align your thoughts and action with the thing that you want. So imagine the person in Hawaii, imagine the organizing business, and you've got your millions of followers and your HGTV show, or maybe you're on the Magnolia Network. I don't know, maybe that's your dream, or maybe you're doing a YouTube show, right? So you have a dream and you give yourself permission to have the dream, and then you say, okay, well, here I am today on a Tuesday, and I'm standing in my current life. How do I think like the person who has what I want? And what's the one action I could take today that aligns with turning my life toward the thing that's meant for me? And so I'm so proud of you because you are allowing yourself to hear your heart's desire and you are pushing yourself to walk toward it every single day. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
So
awesome. What's blocking you currently?
Well, see...
Yeah, that one. Yeah, what is it?
A whole list of questions. So, like, what's blocking me currently, like, with the realm in my space in that world. So, like, everyone knows the names of, like, the Home Edit, Marie Kondo. And I love them. I respect them.
Right.
And I'm like, how do I move my mind frame of my limitations, thinking they have made it so big and so far. Like, I want to get there, but, like, I don't even know how to take that away to get my mindset around thinking I can get to that level.
Right.
Like, how do I get there without feeling like a copycat, but also, like, knowing that it's possible because they're doing it.
Yes. Okay.
So I'm stuck right there.
Got it. So you're stuck in comparison.
100%.
And the people that are ahead of you on the path that you're walking down are making you invalidate yourself.
Totally.
Great. No, not great. Not great. Not great. But this is normal.
Yeah.
Okay, it's normal.
Okay.
It's normal. So one of the reasons why our brain sees everybody that's ahead of us as competition is it's trying to protect you from taking any kind of risks. Yes. Normal for your brain to do this. This is where reframes are critical. I also want to tell you, I struggle with the same thing. I am launching a brand new podcast show in October. All I see around me are the 2 million shows out there, the bigger ones, the this, the that, the other thing. And if I look at them as being ahead of me, I immediately go, why am I even doing this?
100%.
Yes. Okay, so here's how you're going to reframe this.
Okay.
You have to say, they are a light on the path.
Okay.
They're a light on the path I'm walking down.
Yep.
They are showing me it's possible. That's number one.
Yes.
Number two, there is no copying because there are no original ideas. Seriously.
Right.
I want you to be inspired. You're not copying. You're inspired by what they're doing.
Right.
Okay? And when you look at a pantry, if you're inspired by what Marie Kondo does or the Home Edit does, you are going to look at the pantry and take that inspiration and do it your way.
Right.
So do not invalidate the fact that your dreams and these people that are showing up are actually trying to get you to feel inspired again.
Okay.
Your doubt and your fear is blocking the inspiration. By calling it I'm copying them, you're demeaning the fact that your dreams are getting stirred up.
Right.
Your inspiration is going.
Right.
So you got to keep walking toward that. Okay, that's number two. Okay. Number three, you may never get there. You may be way bigger. You might.
That's true. Okay.
You might.
Okay.
You might.
Yeah.
And you also are so lucky because you can study everything that they did.
True.
And then you can take the step that they took and you can go, oh, this feels right for me.
Right.
Or you can take the step they took and go, ew, I wouldn't do it that way.
Sure.
I'm going to do it this way.
Okay.
And so literally use their path to test out ways to try this.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you're going to build your business your way.
Right.
It is a gift that other people, you know what I'm doing right now? 4 months ahead of launching my own podcast, I am stalking every podcast person. I am listening to their opening episodes. I am studying what they do.
Okay.
I am practicing and I'm trying to figure out what feels right for me by following what other people have done.
Okay.
It's impossible for you to be somebody else.
Right. Absolutely.
But in trying and practicing and being inspired by other people, you are going to build the skills and the muscle to find the courage to put your own spin on it. You got it?
I got it.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna do it.
And now here's the other thing. It's not a freaking race.
Okay.
Please play the long game.
Okay.
Please do this because you love organizing.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me why you love organizing.
Well, a lot of reasons. One, I just love being able to help people. I can see it like there, but I also know from ADHD standpoint, like my history with school was so hard. And like that's, I wouldn't say like my scarring moment, but I had to be organized. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Because I would have failed out of school.
Yeah.
And I wanted to achieve. So it's like, it has got me to where I am today because of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I love it. I see people so frustrated and I always thought everyone knew how to do it.
So this is perfect. That's the long game.
Okay.
You're not addicted to organizing a pantry. You're addicted to that moment where somebody has a breakthrough in what life could be like if they're organized.
Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Stay attached to that. Okay. Play the long game. Okay. It won't ever matter how much money you make or how many followers you have or what product deals you make.
Yes.
Because you'll stay attached to the heart and soul of why you're doing this.
Okay.
Got it?
I got it.
Good. Awesome. Go get them. Go get them. I'm so proud of you. Everybody reports this, that literally, okay, it feels weird. I'm resisting. This is stupid. But then as you get really close, you're not really thinking anything. It like turns into this feeling experience.
So that is, and I'm so glad you brought that up, and everything you said is profoundly important and needs to sink in and land into people's minds as a profoundly true statement, because that's the core of our humanity. When we operate from there, that's how we can move forward as a global experience as well. But what's happening there is you've got 3 levels of mind. You've got the non-conscious, which no one really understands or talks about. And it's the biggest part of your mind. I'll send you one of my books that explains this. My book called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess.
I have it.
Oh, do you have it? Okay.
You don't have to send it to me.
Okay. So the non-conscious mind is the biggest part of us. It never switches off. It's what drives, it's the driving force. It's where every experience you've had since a certain point in the womb to the age that you're at today, the good, the bad, and the ugly, are all basically stored. And it's linked to, it is the 3 storage places. The mind as gravitational fields, brain as these tree things, and then made of protein and chemicals, and then in genetic changes inside the 37 to 100 trillion cells of your body. So it's deep stuff. That's why your experience is so profound, because your entire psychoneurophysiology suddenly saw Mel and what's been hiding there for so long, which has been trying to come out. So in other words, your non-conscious mind is always there to work for you and is looking for the imbalances and sending signals through the subconscious. The subconscious is the bridge between the non-conscious and the conscious mind. The conscious mind is only operating when we're awake. So that experience where you had that deep sense of profoundness, you had a connection with the non-conscious, the deepest part of you. Imagine it as a huge green forest going through the middle of this endless forest. So your mind is this endless forest, and it's all filled with these different colored trees and the dark ones, etc., representing toxic and so on. But the middle is perfect. And that's who you are. That middle part is what actually is constantly driving and keeping your mind going. But choice comes in. Think, feel, choose adds the outside of the forest. But the inside of the forest is the real Mel. So when you high five, you actually, for want of a better way of explaining it, you jumped into the middle of the forest and you looked at yourself from that angle for the first time. Up until then, you've been on the outside looking in through this. So this has been your vision through these and these and these, but that wasn't telling you the truth. It was telling you about everything that the world has shaped you to be and told you, and past and trauma and all that stuff. And that's been a very dominating force. But by you high-fiving, you then brought this up and you started forcing yourself to look at that. And somehow in doing that, you brought up your core nature. You stepped into the middle of the forest. So the silence was the silencing of the messy mind. So 3 levels: non-conscious, which works 24/7, huge, infinite, like so fast, speeds of 10 to the 27, inconceivable speeds. The conscious mind's only awake when you're awake, and it's slow. It only operates at 2,000 actions per second. We build around about 8,000 thoughts a day on average, and each thought's informed by thoughts popping up from our non-conscious mind through the subconscious into the conscious. So there's 20 to 30 to 50,000 things going through our head, building plus the existing. And that is very messy, and we can manage that. We're brilliant. But what happens is when there's a lot of toxicity, it becomes very overwhelming. And when the toxicity is driven by a identity that's in crisis, which is what most of the world are, which is what you said, then that noise is terrible. This creates the sound waves of these are actually only at around about 4 hertz. This is actually at about 528. But these collectively, whatever you put your attention on, you can ignore that and you can be consumed by this. And this is very disturbing. So your peace was disturbed. So you got in the middle of the forest, you started seeing yourself differently. And what happened there was that your mind never goes silent. Your mind never stops. It never stops even for 3 seconds. Your conscious mind will go to sleep, but your non-conscious mind never, ever stops. But what you did was you shifted the position from the noise to the wisdom. And in the wisdom, you were then able to look at the mess and say, that's okay. That's not who I am. That's how I'm showing up. And I'm showing up like that because of, and I'll slowly but surely over the rest of my life unpack this. That's kind of what happened in that, I would describe it scientifically in that moment with some analogies. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. Perfect sense. Today we've got a crazy cool topic. We are talking about mindset. And before we jump into the science and the cool tactics that you're going to be able to apply to your life to change your mindset, I want to just remind you that this episode is part of a month-long series that we are doing here on the Mel Robbins podcast about the building blocks and the research that you need to know in order to create a better life. Here's the simple truth about your mindset. Your mind is either working for you or against you. That's what it's doing. And so by the end of today's episode, there's going to be a couple things that go down. First of all, you are going to understand that you have the power to reprogram your mind. That's right. You can take simple steps and you can practice them every day to train your mind to work for you. And I'm also going to prove to you today, using very simple science, that your mind is trying to help you. It doesn't know any better if it's working against you. And when you can identify the way that you want to feel or what you want to do with your life, you can change your mindset to help you. And when you do that, here's what's super cool. It improves the day-to-day experience of your life, and it changes what it's like to be in your head. So whether you're listening to this episode because you struggle right now with overthinking or feeling unworthy, or maybe you have a really positive outlook, but you just want to level up. You want to play a bigger game. That's where I am right now. I am so ready to take a bigger swing to knock it out of the park this year. And the mindset and creating a more powerful mindset, that is a tool in your arsenal to help you achieve anything that you want. So today, you and I are going to get serious about making your mind work for you. And I want to start us off with a question from a listener named Brandy.
Hi there, Mel. My name is Brandy. How do I stop the spiral of negative thoughts and feelings? I really want to reset and start embracing a happier life. I just don't know where to start. I hope you can help.
Brandy, I am so happy that you asked this question because we have received thousands of versions of this question. And I'm also kind of thrilled. I picked your question in particular because you use the word reset. And today I am going to teach you how to give yourself a mindset reset. And I'm going to explain what a mindset reset is, the simple steps to doing it. It's all going to make sense in a couple minutes. But I want to give you a preview so that as we step into the process of giving yourself a reset mentally, that you have a baseline understanding. So here's a preview of what we're going to talk about, okay? You have a filter in your brain, and I'm going to teach you using science and neuroscience how to use this filter that's already in your brain to your advantage. And everything that I'm going to teach you, you can put to practice immediately. And what I love so much about this conversation that we're about to have is that you may even experience an immediate change the first time you try this little thing I'm going to teach you. This is so cool because the moment you experience this small change in your mindset, it will create momentum. It creates excitement. It creates possibility. There's this opening of a whole new way of thinking. But before we can get there, I want to just start with the basics so that you feel really empowered around the topic of mindset and around reprogramming this filter in your brain. So let's just start with a definition so we're all using the same terminology. And let's define, you and I, what is a mindset? Well, your mindset is your beliefs and your opinions about the way that the world works. That's the definition when you look it up. However, you know that I prefer metaphors. Mel Robbins is dyslexic, so she likes to be able to visualize something, especially when we're talking about this intellectual stuff, okay? So the metaphor that I love when it comes to mindset and the sciencey, psychological, neurological aspect of mindset and brain programming is I use the metaphor sunglasses. I think about your mindset like a pair of sunglasses. So stop and think right now about your favorite pair of sunglasses. I have these sunglasses that I have had for almost 15 years. I bought them because we were going on this rafting trip and I had forgot to pack my sunglasses. And so I bought the only cool pair of sunglasses that they had on that turnstile thing on the counter. They were like $15. And they were these huge black bug-eyed glasses. I feel like Jackie O when I wear them. So think about your favorite pair of sunglasses for just a minute. Now I want you to think about the lens color. And think about how when you put on that pair of sunglasses, that lens on your favorite sunglasses, it colors and filters what you see and it gives it a tint, right? I mean, if you put on rose-colored sunglasses, the world has a rosy, bright tint to it. If you put on amber sunglasses, same thing. Gray, same thing. My big black bug-eyed glasses that I just love. I feel so glamorous in these $15 plastic things. Everything looks crazy dark. Just really blocks everything out. Your mindset works the same way as a pair of sunglasses. Let's go back to the written definition of your mindset. Your mindset is made up of your beliefs and your opinions. And just like the lens on a pair of sunglasses, those beliefs and opinions that you have, they create a mindset through which you filter the world. And I'm going to give you a couple examples. Let's say you're a pessimistic person. If that's your mindset, if that's your outlook, you will filter the world through pessimism. Just like a dark pair of sunglasses skews the outside world with this blackened, darker shade. And if you're not pessimistic, let's just think about the most pessimistic person you know. Someone who is always negative. They could be sitting on the beach in the Bahamas with a beautiful, fabulous tropical drink in their hand. Sun is shining, crystal clear ocean, and they're annoyed because lunch hasn't come out yet. You know that kind of person. You've sat next to them at a wedding where the band is awesome, the couple is so cute and happy, families together, and what is this person doing? They're bitching about something, some relative that's sitting all the way on the other side of the room. All they notice is the one thing that's wrong or irritating them. They don't even notice all of the amazing things that are going on around them. Isn't it interesting when I describe this negative, pessimistic person? You know exactly who I'm talking about. And you're probably thinking, dear God, do not sit them next to me at the next family wedding. I do not want to hear this, okay? I do not like that kind of mindset or that mood. I do not want dark-colored glasses skewing the way that I enjoy this situation right now. And here's the craziest thing about mindset. You know that pessimistic person you and I were just thinking about? They have no idea that they have dark glasses on. This is just the way they see the world. I'm going to give you another example of mindset and how important this is. I want you to think about someone you work with, or maybe you go to school with this person, who has a can-do attitude. No matter how tight the deadline or how rude the customer is that you guys are waiting on, or how much other team members are slacking off, this one person with a can-do attitude, they always see the bright side, or they have this unbelievable ability to just shrug off the rudeness of other people or the laziness of the students that are on your group project. And they literally can just flip it and turn to you and go, well, they probably have something going on in their personal life. It's as if they always see any situation or any relationship from the positive. They see possibility. They give people the benefit of the doubt. They assume good intent. This too is a mindset. It's just like putting on a rosy pair of sunglasses. Everything is sharper, clearer, brighter when you have this kind of mindset. Even a cloudy, crappy day looks like a beautiful sunrise. In fact, there's a really cool study from the University of Toronto about rose-colored glasses. This isn't just a saying. When you wear rose-colored glasses, your attitude is better. And there's even more based on this research. When you wear rose-colored glasses, you even see more. Your visual horizon is expanded because these rose-colored glasses put you in a good mood. Your mindset determines the way you view the world, and that determines how you think. So I want to do a gut check right now with you. If you had to tell the truth, or actually, let's make this really accurate. If your best friend had to describe the color of the sunglasses that you wear, would they say that you're more on the lane of the dark, bug-eyed plastic glasses that just skewed everything like it was midnight? Or are you more on the range of everything's rosy? You're always positive. You are always upbeat. You see beauty where most people see nothing. Do a quick gut check with yourself because your mindset is critical. It shapes the way you view the world. And that determines how and what you think about. It also determines how you feel about the present moment, about your past, and about the future. And most importantly, this is where it gets really important. Your mindset determines what actions you take and what actions you don't take. And it also impacts how you see other people. So for example, if I asked you, so what's your mom like? Before you even answer the question, you subconsciously drop on sunglasses and it filters your opinion about her. And by having a filter about another person, it also limits what's possible for her. You think she just is that way, which means there's no room for her to change. So why is mindset and getting intentional about changing your mindset? Why is this so important? Why do you need to know what color the lens is that you view the world through? And more importantly, why it's time to pop those lenses out if they don't serve you and put in different lenses so that you can see things differently. I'll tell you why your mindset is so important. Because so much of your potential is either limited or expanded by your mindset. I prove to you almost every single episode on the Mel Robbins podcast that with the right attitude and consistent action, you can absolutely change anything about your life or your health or your relationships for the better. And if you're walking around right now with a really negative mindset, you've got those dark, bug-eyed glasses on, and you're sitting there every single day telling yourself day in and day out that there is nothing that you can do about this situation, this job, this relationship, this health condition, that you've tried, that you've failed, that you don't deserve it, that you don't know how. I want you to consider that your own mindset is keeping you stuck in that broken situation because your mindset is not inspiring you to do anything about it. Being able to spot those dark lenses, pop them out, put in something brighter, rosier, more luminous, it's going to change everything. And here's why. When you feel more hopeful, or when you see options, and you start to tell yourself, well, why not? Why don't I just try it? What if it works out? Why don't I just see what happens? I do deserve to be happier. I don't deserve to be treated like this. I should start speaking up. That rosier mindset, it inspires you to take the actions that change your life. And it's the actions that matter. This is why I love this topic about mindset and what you're about to learn about the filter in your brain so much. Because right now, there are areas in your life where your own mindset is blocking you from taking action. And before we jump into the filter in your brain and changing your mindset, I want to be very clear about something. This conversation today, it's not about positive thinking. You and I are talking about training your mind to work for you. That's very different. This is not toxic positivity. I'm not asking you to put a positive spin on a shitty situation. I'm also very clear that thinking nice thoughts, it's not going to get your bills paid. However, if you can get serious and intentional and strategic about training your mind to have a rosier and more optimistic and empowered attitude, you, my friend, will be able to say to yourself, I can do this. You will be able to say, you know what? I know my student debt is piled from the floor to the ceiling, and I have not opened those bills in approximately 10 months, but I believe in my ability to figure out how to pay this off. If you can, that is an example of how you go from I'm fucked to I can figure this out. When you take off the dark glasses, you know what you'll see? You'll see you're not stuck in the job. You're not stuck in the relationship. You're not stuck with the unhealthy habits that you have. If you're the kind of person that constantly shrugs your shoulders and is like, well, it is what it is. I got this college debt. It is what it is. I always date these losers. It is what it is. My grandfather was heavy. My mother was heavy. I guess I'll just be heavy and feel really bad about it. No. You can look at something differently. And when you look at it differently, you see different options. And I also want to say one more thing before we jump into the filter in your brain and its connection to your mindset. There are things in life that you are not going to change, or at least you're not going to change them overnight. For example, you and I cannot change that there is discrimination in this world. There is bias, and there is violence that a lot of people experience. We cannot change the fact that poverty and mental health issues impact people for real. But here's what you can do. You can train yourself to look at the future and decide how you're going to react to and respond to the things that you're facing in your life. You can decide how you're going to heal and what you're going to do about those things for yourself and your community. And one final thing. We have a huge global audience here on the Mel Robbins podcast. And I want you to know, if you're listening in another country, that I am reading all of the questions that you're submitting through the DMs and through the forums at melrobbins.com. And I see so many of you writing about your desire to create a better life and the fact that it's hard because you're living in Iran or your country is under siege like Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you something. A positive mindset is not going to change the reality of what is going on around you. Here's what it does, and this is why it's important. It empowers you to face it, to deal with it, and to survive it. That's what a mindset does. And that's why it's important to get serious about training your mind to work for you. And this connection between mindset and action, this is so important that I want to give you one more example about how your mindset either inspires action or it discourages it. So let's just say that you are in a job and you hate it. You feel stuck. You feel like you're kind of dead inside. You're not excited about anything. It's day in, day out, the same thing. Or if you're not working right now, and let's say you've taken time off to raise your kids, and you're sitting there going, I want to get back in the workforce, but I don't have any skills, and I've got a 20-year hold in my resume. If your mindset is like those dark, bug-eyed sunglasses that just muddy everything that you see, this is what you're telling yourself. Nobody's going to hire me. I don't have any experience. I don't even know how to write a resume. How the hell am I going to get into interior design when I went to college for accounting and I work in a big accounting firm and I don't even know how to begin doing this? I can't make this happen. If that is the way that you look at the future, if that's your mindset, if you color what's possible through that dark lens, if you keep telling yourself those things, you will see a world where you can't change. So are you going to feel inspired to work on your resume? Of course not. Are you going to feel empowered to start Googling and researching and figuring out how to go from an accounting job into interior design? No, because your mindset has stopped you before you even started. And that's why it's critical for you to realize this is not just a conversation about your thoughts. At the end of the day, if you don't have a positive mindset, you and I can talk about actions and habits all day long till we're blue in the face, but you won't do shit about it. I got to get you to have the kind of mindset that also says, hey, it's worth it. Hey, I can do something about this. Because if I can get you to be more optimistic, if I can get you to take the dark lens off and put on a lighter one, if I can get you to start believing it is worth it for you to apply. It is worth it for you to put your dating app back up. Yeah, it is worth it for you to pick up the pen and start working on that book you've always wanted to write. Hell yes, it's worth it for you to take 10 minutes today and lay down on the floor and do those stretching exercises that the doctor told you should do because you threw your back out instead of sitting on the couch and bitching about it. Of course it's worth it. If I can get you to start to flip from, easy for you to say, Mel, works out for you, doesn't work out for me, it's not going to help. I've had anxiety for years. If I can get you into, hey, maybe it will work. Hey, maybe I'm ready. Maybe I should try this. Maybe I do deserve this. That singular switch in your mindset motivates you, encourages you to take action. And that's critical because without action, your problems are not going away. Without action, those dreams are not coming true. Without action, you are not healing the crap that's giving you pain. When you change your mindset, it doesn't make those challenges disappear. It changes your ability to face them. And so I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach Brandy. Remember that question? She wants, how do I reset this, Mel? How do I stop doubting myself? Well, I'm going to teach you how to do a mindset reset because the fact is you can change your mindset. You are not stuck with the thoughts that you think. You are not stuck with the way that you feel. You can make your mind a place that supports you. Yes, you can start to see possibility where you never saw any possibility or hope before. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed that video, by God, please subscribe because I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. We've got so much amazing stuff coming. Thank you so much for sending this stuff to your friends and your family. I love you. We create these videos for you. So make sure you subscribe. Mwah.